One dark and stormy night, at a small Roman village, someone decided to pay a visit. This video seems like an old familiar favorite. Indeed, this is very similar to the battle that I played against a Roman at a small village with no defenses quite some time ago. It's in my video files, back towards the beginning. I played as Greece. This time I'm playing as Carthage, and I've come to join a Christmas party with the Romans. They invited me to a Christmas party, and unfortunately the weather wasn't good, but that's okay, because I come bearing gifts for the Romans. I come bearing gifts of stones, spears, shields, and utter destruction. So it was very nice of them to invite me. I'm extremely happy to be here, and happy to be able to provide them with the gifts that they asked for. So let's start off by taking a look at the Roman army. My opponent has quite a few of these urban cohorts, upgraded the silver standard. And by the way, this video is the first in a series of replays that I'll be bringing you as part of the Heir of Carthage Christmas special. So for the Christmas special, we're going back to the good old days of Rome Total War Online, where it all started. So anyway, there's 3 of these urban cohorts here. Let's take a look back at the next line. He's got a Praetorian, so 3 urbans, 3 Praetorians, an urban where his general's at, another Praetorian cavalry back here, and then it looks like he has 5 units of Roman archers, and then defending the other side of the village is 2 more urban cohorts. So my opponent pretty wisely brought a very small contingent of 2 units of Praetorian cav, and the first gifts that I decided to give my opponent were the gifts of stones. And I have my slingers out here, knowing that his cavalry really can't get to him by the time I can run away, and I basically started hurling stones, but I'm not going to keep wasting stones. You can see that he's now formed into a testudo, and that's fine. If he'll form into a testudo, that means that he'll be immobile. And as soon as he comes out of testudo, I'm going to start hurling stones in again. So I'm going to use a nice little Christmas tactic here. And this is, I guess, some form of Dirty Santa. It's like they don't want these gifts, and they're cheap and crappy, but I'm giving it to them anyway. So here you can see these urban cohorts getting peppered. That's going to make my opponent a little bit antsy. He's going to charge in my peasants here. These peasants are another gift that I brought the Romans. I mean, who doesn't enjoy just, like, you know, destroying peasants? It's pretty fun. So I guess I came bearing one set of gifts that the Romans actually wanted. But a gift that they didn't want is a wall of bronze shields and heavy spears, and that is my sacred band. I have 6 of them. I also have 2 units of pointy infantry for extra infantry support. They're gold. All my infantry is gold. I have 5 units of these slingers, and I have 3 units of sacred band cavalry holding up the rear. I brought too much cavalry probably, to be honest. My opponent went with more heavy infantry. However, if I were him, I know it would have given him fewer numbers, but I would have gone ahead and gone with the gold upgrades. And part of the reason is you can see that he just unleashed Pilla on me, but it did not near as much damage, and I really think it's because his units weren't upgraded all the way. Plus, I was kind of close to him, so he didn't get to hurl all of his Pilla. And here I have my I don't have my spearmen on guard mode. I want them to go ahead and push into the Romans. Some of you have asked, what does it mean for them to not be on guard mode? When your unit's on guard mode, it's going to try and stand in the same position and fight, and phalanxes come automatically set default in guard mode, and it's because when an enemy attacks your phalanx, it helps make them stationary against a wall of spears. But if you want your men to fight more aggressively, you can take them off guard mode. There's a couple of times when this is handy. Here, I want my men to push aggressively into these Praetorian cohorts and urban cohorts. So that's why I did it here. But also, say like if you're playing Carthage against Macedon, the stats of Sacred Band Pikes are superior to Royal Pikes, so you want to take them off of guard mode so that they'll just push on through the Royal Pikes. Otherwise, it evens the fight out because the Royal Pikes have longer spears, and when your men stay in guard mode, they stand back, and it kind of evens the fight. So if you know your spearmen are superior to the enemy spearmen, you definitely want to take them out of guard mode, as it will be a big benefit to you. Now, my only real concern here is soaking up Pilla from the urban cohorts. I have to be very careful about Pilla damage, because he could rout entire units of my infantry if he gets a good Pilla storm. And so part of the reason I brought the peasants to give to the Romans is I want the Romans to have something to throw their Pilla at, and something to shoot their arrows at. And here you can see that the Romans are kindly lighting the Yuletide candle, so to speak, for my peasants. And they very much enjoy that. These are fresh, homegrown peasants who are well suited to this task. So I'm just going to run forward and try and draw out Pilla. You can see that my peasants do attract some Pilla, and they also get fiercely destroyed by far superior Roman troops. So I hope the Romans enjoyed their Christmas present, because now I'm here to give them more. So now that the Romans are a bit disorganized, I'm going to bring my Sacred Band on in and continue the push. And let's also take a look out here on the flank. I've started some movement, I'll show you that in a minute, and I'm going to march in the rest of my Sacred Band, and I'm going to try and do a similar tactic that I did to that corner camper. I'm going to just bring in a ton of my men, take them out of guard mode, and just make like an impenetrable strong wall to just push, muscle right through all these urbans and praetorians. So that's kind of my strategy here. It's risky, because his men are quite good, and he's also got archers firing into me, but I'm also using my slingers. You can see I've moved them over here. So here they are. They're hurling stones on in to the village. This is kind of a cool position for him. It gives him a nice little spot. Now my opponent sees my flanking force, and I think he's wanting to destroy my slingers out here so that I can't assist. And I do see his infantry and cavalry coming, and I go ahead and start to move my slingers backwards. And I'm going to use my pointy infantry here to help protect those slingers. And I mean, all this is really just a distraction from my main force. And let's see how that fight's going, because not much really happens out there on that flank, to be honest. Here's the main effort. You can see that my Sacred Band are pushing back these Romans, and you can see that they're just getting plowed backwards. If I were my opponent, what I would have done was taken my men out of guard mode, and I would have clicked a movement order until they just started to run through my phalanxes and get my guys all mixed up in hand-to-hand combat, and I think that would have been the best for him. He would have taken some initial losses, but I think it would have been better for him in the end. And somehow some of my slingers ended up in here. Oh well. So let's take a look back out here on the flanks. I went ahead and engaged my opponent's infantry, which is a couple of urban cohorts with my pointy infantry. And that's a fight that they would probably lose, to be honest. But all that's just a distraction for me to activate my Sacred Band cavalry and try and destroy my opponent's Praetorian cav. I just don't want his cavalry to be able to come out here and challenge my slingers. And I got a better charge off, plus I have numeric superiority. Plus I have slingers firing into the mess. So his Praetorian cav is going to get routed. And at this point, my opponent admitted defeat, which was a little bit frustrating, but I mean, he was going to lose. I just like it sometimes when people fight to the end. But that's okay, it wasn't a big deal. Anyway, you can see my opponent there, his name, and you can see the results. Good game to him, and hope you enjoyed that first of many Christmas special replays. Let the Christmas fun commence, because now it's snowing. There's actually a chance of snow where I live too, which in the southern United States, snow is nice to see, but it's also bad because I kind of need to travel some, and traveling in snow in places where cities don't own snow plows or salt trucks is kind of crappy. In any case, let's take a look at my Roman army here. I have gone Christmas colored. I'm playing as the Julii, and I requested that my opponent play as the Brutii. So check it out, red and green, plus the snow. I mean, if this doesn't have Christmas written all over it, I don't know what more you could do to celebrate Christmas in Rome Total War. So, in order to have a good Christmas match, I made sure to get the right colors. Now my opponent, as I said, is the Brutii. He's got 4 units of Praetorian Cav with no upgrades. In fact, I don't know that my opponent upgraded any of his troops, which either means that he's new or he's hoping that the numbers would win it for him. He did bring Legionary First cohorts, and these are very strong units, so that'll help make up for some of the fact that he doesn't have upgrades, because he has more men than me, and he has the Legionary Standards. You can obviously see why I brought this unit of Fistati. They beautifully soaked up a massive amount of Pilla, because had I stepped up and taken that Pilla, my opponent would have decimated my troops. And I've ordered my men to throw 1 round of Pilla and then charge. And that's because I just want to get in here. My men are better upgraded, and I want to begin the Christmas scuffle, so to speak. So I kept my troops in slightly denser ranks. His are a little more spread out. I don't know if that's really going to play a whole lot of difference. So here's the red and green Christmas mayhem. currently on Rome Total War is Christmas rung in by bloodshed. Let's take a walk up the Rhine here. See our legionary cohorts duking it out. And you know what the best part of this battle is? Probably the biggest Christmas present? Is that there's not one urban cohort on the battlefield. It's fantastic. Truly fantastic. Anyway, so my opponent charged in some of his Praetorian Cav here, and I have to be careful because I've only brought, well, I brought weaker cavalry, but I've also brought some infantry over to support. I have my general in this Praetorian cohort unit, and he is supporting. I've tried to bring a little more accurate type of Roman army. I wouldn't call it completely accurate because CA hasn't allowed that. Here's an overhead of the battle. I'm going to take my cavalry into the backfield, and he has 4 units of Triarii to protect his backlines. And I'm basically just going to make him think that I'm doing hammer and anvils, because as you can see, I'm going to win this fight one-on-one. Now, he tried a little bit of a hammer and anvil before his cavalry routed, but I had cavalry on their tail, and my men are winning that fight, so he is not going to get the rout that he's looking for there. And in the meantime, I have my archers firing into his Triarii, just to start killing. Well, did I say his Triarii? I'm not sure what they're aimed at. I have my archers aimed at something. I don't know what it is. Let's take a look at my cavalry. Here's the problem. A lot of players on Rome Total War Online, especially when they play as the Greeks, or sometimes as the Romans, they think that, oh, well, I'll just bring a bunch of spear infantry, and I'll be able to ward off my opponent's cavalry. And here you're seeing the problem with that. Without his cavalry to assist, your spear infantry can't catch my cavalry. So unless I'm completely unable to micro my troops, which every now and then I prove worthy of that, then I'm going to be able to outrun you. And you can see that's what I'm doing here. I'm just simply running away from his spear troops, and I'm killing all of his archers. So he really should have not spent his money on that Triarii and just upgraded his Praetorians, and then he would have had a much better chance. So 1 legionary cohort has routed, and now these Triarii are all that he has to hold his flank, and that is not a good thing, as Triarii suck at fighting anything but cavalry. There's my cavalry running some more Christmas mayhem. I now have my archers shooting at these Triarii. I'm just going to go ahead and soften them up a little. I'm once again lighting the Yuletide candle here. That's what we'll call it for the Christmas episode. Or the Yule log. Here's some nice Yule logs laying on the ground. I'm sure there was also some logs, so to speak, in their pants as all the flaming arrows started to fly in. Oh man, I'm great at lame jokes. Anyway, you can see that in the Christmas scuffle, I am coming out the victor. My opponent is trying desperately to reinforce with his Triarii that have been chasing my cavalry, but they are now winded, and they're Triarii, so that's 2 disadvantages that they face, which kind of sucks in a way. I think this game really underrated Triarii, because in real life, yes, Triarii were spear troops, but you also have to remember they were like the elite veterans of the Roman army, and very wealthy. And so, although they may have fought with they fought with spears, and I guess in a near phalanx type formation, they would have been extremely tough troops, and that was their job, was to hold the line in case other troops needed to withdraw. And so they would not have been the kind of crappy troops that they're portrayed as on this game. I think the main reason CA made them the way they did is to give Rome some type of spear troops to help hold off cavalry. Anyway, let's watch the demise of these Triarii. They're going to get pinned in on every side. Here comes my cavalry launching some of them in the air. Little did they know they would be flying home for Christmas. Ooh, more lame jokes. Not the best. Anyway, my opponent has some troops remaining on the field that come back from routing, but there's nothing else really to see here. Good game to my opponent, and I'm going to fast forward to the results. That was a heroic Christmas victory for me. Hope you enjoyed those highlights. There you can see the number of men I deployed, the number of kills that I had. And it was quite substantial. Good game to my opponent, Antonio, and let's get on with the Christmas celebration.